Marty O here. Welcome to another classic album review. And during the month of June, we're going to look at classic albums from the 1970s. Loads to choose from in this decade. But today I've gone for Fun House by the Stooges. Now the Stooges were formed in 1967 in Ann Arbor, Michigan by Iggy Pop, Ron Ashton, Scott Ashton and Dave Alexander. They were originally called the Psychedelic Stooges and also known as Iggy and the Stooges. They were known for playing in that raw, primitive style of rock and roll, and they sort of weren't very. They sold very few albums in the original incarnation, but they gained a reputation for their confrontational performances, which often involved acts of self-mutilation by Iggy Pop. What people will do to get fame. But the album we're going to look at is their second album, Fun House. Now this was released on the 7th of July 1970. Though initially commercially not very successful, it developed into a strong cult following, and it is generally considered a major part of the development of punk rock. So, playing on here, we have got Iggy Pop on vocals, Ron Asherton on guitars, Dave Alexander on bass, Scott Asherton on drums, Steve McKay on saxophone, and the producer was Don Galisi. So let's have a look at these tracks. All good tracks. So we start with side one, and the first track on here is called Down on the Street. That's great. The drumming on here, it's a great drum. Scott's drumming is fantastic. He's a really good drummer. Then you got that lovely bass from Dave, and it's a great vocal from Iggy. You know, this is the sort of the first of the proper punky songs before punk was invented. This is 1970. It's absolutely brilliant track. Then we get Loose, one of my favourite songs by the Stooges. Again, you got that great bass line from Dave. It really drives the song along, and then you got that solid drums from Scott. Ron's guitar work is ace on this, and once again we've got a great vocal from Iggy, who had got this unusual voice. He's still a good singer today, even though he's dropped about 3 octaves and it's a bit more of a growly. It's still great. Then we get TVI. Great riff from Ron on this. The hooks there, great vocal, solid drumming. That engine room is so good on this. Then we get Dirt. This is quite a long track. It's 7 minutes long, but it's really good. Some nice guitar work from Ron throughout the album, different textures. The bass line from Dave just sort of holds it together, along with some very good drumming from Scott. It's a really good track. Really like that one. Then we turn over to side 2, and the first track is called 1970. Again, this is a 5-minute track. This one's a little bit different. The drumming was great on this. A little bit disjointed in places, but the guitar work is good on it as well. It's not my favourite track on the album, but I don't dislike it. Then we get Fun House, the title track. This is 7 minutes. The bass line in this is superb. Then you get a little bit of saxophone thrown in. I think this is a very important track because it's got all them elements of what became punk rock in it, and it inspired a lot of people. This sound, it's a fantastic track. Then we get LA Blues. This is the blip on the album. To be quite honest, it's the drumming from Scott is brilliant, but it's the rest of the song. It sounds like it's a bit of filler, bit of larking about at the end. It just doesn't gel, this track. Okay, I believe this is one of the most important albums of the 70s in the punk development. You've got to remember that punk rock really hit the scene in 1977, 76, 77. But this, to me, this is the start of it, even back in 1970. This is a little bit different, this album. And, you know, it's probably... LA Blues is probably the noisiest, but it did, although it's not, I don't particularly like it. You can see what was going to be coming in the years to come. And I do like this album. I think it's just a great album. As I said at the beginning, not a very successful album, but it is one of those albums that's gathered that cult status over the years. I found a couple of reviews. Charles Burton from Rolling Stone found the Fun House to be more sophisticated than the Stooges' debut album, writing they sounded exquisitely horrible and down and out, but this is the ultimate psychedelic rock band in the 1970s. Then Roy Hollingworth of Melody Maker was unimpressed. However, he called it the worst record of the year and a muddy load of sluggish rubbish. Wrong. My favourite, Chris Gale, for the Village Voice, said that the Stooges were successful use of monotonian incorporation of saxophone, had an intellectual appeal, but questioned whether it was healthy as a listener. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about half the. He later said in his criticism had been based on the album's inaccessibility of popular music, but in his record guide he did give it a little bit more. In retrospective review, all music's marked down in how Funhouse was one of them ideal documents of the Stooges in their raw, sweaty, howling peak. So this is what the critics called it. All Music gave it 5 stars. The Chicago Tribune gave it 4. Chris Gell's record guide actually gave it an A- in the end. Entertainment Weekly gave it an A+. Mojo gave it 5 stars. Pitchfork gave it a 9.4. Q gave it a 4. The Rolling Stone Album Guide gave it 5. The Spin Alternative 10 out of 10. And Uncut 10 out of 10. Yeah, I think it's a great album. I'm not going to say if it's my favourite one, because I'm sure at some stage we will do a Stooges album ranking. But put it this way, I do play this quite a lot. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. So there we go. Wonder what obscure classic 1970s album we'll have for you next week. If you want to know, you'll have to tune in to the live stream or watch the little video on Friday. Okay, that's all for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Well, it's a bit of a tribute day and a happy bit as well. Firstly, I'm going to be ranking the albums of Bachman Turner Overdrive, because sadly we lost 2 of the Bachman brothers, very close to each other. And also we're going to look at the fantastic guitarist Gordon Lightfoot, who sadly left us this year as well. So that's going to be the retro. But tomorrow also we have got a birthday top 10, and this is for an American chap called Gary, but we all know him more as Polestar because he's got his own channel. and he's a fellow YouTuber, and it's his birthday tomorrow, and it's a significant one. He is 70 years old tomorrow, so we'll be looking at so that's 1953, but because he's an American, there wasn't any American top 10, so I've done the UK top 10 for him, and also there is the number 1 in America. So that's all for tomorrow. A busy day tomorrow, so have a good day everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.